Good evening. Repping some Michigan love with my Verners. I've been busy all day doing video editing or trying to do video editing. I'm terrible at it. But I started reading in one of the Z-Dog groups, I think it was, or one of the COVID groups, but there is some new information. There is a drug company called NeuroRx. They have released some data, and the original post that I had clicked on was the headline, Houston Methodist reports rapid recovery of critically ill COVID-19 patients with new drug. So as I'm reading through this article, it says that Methodist was the first to report the rapid recovery of patients on ventilators and those with severe medical conditions after 3 days of treatment. One of these individuals was being treated for a rejection of a double lung transplant. So number one, having a double lung transplant lets me know that he was at the end stages of COVID, because with Dr. Frank, the individual that I shared that passed away, that's what they wanted, was a lung transplant. You see how fast things went downhill. So this man was able to get lungs, was on ECMO, obviously wasn't doing too much life-saving for him. They gave him this drug, and within 3 days, he was off that ventilator. This is Houston Methodist. They had another one. See, the drug appeared to have rapidly cleared pneumonitis, which is inflammation of the lungs, on an x-ray, improved blood oxygen, and a 50% or greater average decrease in laboratory markers associated with COVID-19 inflammation. So that's where we're looking at our CRP, all that stuff. All those markers that we test for in the very beginning, even if the tests come back negative. But what they're saying is no other antiviral agent has demonstrated rapid recovery from viral infection and demonstrated laboratory inhibition of viral replication. So I tried to do more searching on it. Of course, there's no data. I have no information. Hey guys, there's new information on an antiviral drug that's come out, come out. It's another one of those type situations that the company itself is making the announcement, and then we hear nothing else, kind of like the vaccine from like 7 weeks ago. I don't think it was Moderna that they were talking about then, but this one here is talking about how it works, and what it does is it kind of coats the lungs. So I'm going to read the long word for it, guys. Forgive me. Synthetic human vasoactive intestinal polypeptide. The drug candidate has the fast-track designation, emergency use authorization, and an expanded access protocol from the U.S. FDA. No other antiviral agent has demonstrated rapid recovery from viral infection and demonstrated laboratory inhibition of viral replication. So now they are going to conduct placebo-controlled trials to see whether the observations made in the case control and open-label studies will be confirmed for less ill patients with COVID. Until I see data, something that we can look at, I'm going to reserve judgment. This is fairly good news. It happened close to home here in Houston on a patient that I honestly wouldn't expect to have made it. And then be off the ventilator in 3 days after facing a double lung rejection. That's pretty impressive. So everything that I'm seeing when I do a Google search is all from a clinical trials arena. It's the company making the announcement once again. And when I see things like this and a company bragging and tooting its own horn, I do throw up a few red flags, just like I did with the vaccine. But this here, and I do mean a big if this shows the continued promise that we're hoping, this could be a game changer in the battle of COVID, man. Because what we need to do, it's if we could control the inflammation, we could really prevent a lot of these deaths that are happening. I don't know how it works with the blood clots. Obviously, we have to be looking at things like that. We won't know until we see the data. But you didn't see that drug company making a phony ass press release on the Supreme Court steps, did you? Trying to scream about a cure? No. So when I do click on the link, it leads me to the New York Post website. So like I said, I don't see anything in like the Lancet or anything on like MedCram or anything of that nature. So I'm going to reserve judgment. I'm going to keep the faith and hope that the data does come through the same way. And they're doing trials as they should be. But this is good news, especially with results like this. Excuse me, he came off the vent in 4 days. And similar results were seen in more than 15 patients. So he wasn't the only one. And as you know, we had a lot of sick people here. And we were having to pick and choose who to put on ECMO because we don't have many places here in Texas, despite its size, for ECMO. So, good news, folks. This is hopefully some good news. I'm trying to get rid of some of these Facebook. It's, hang on, Edward. It's RLF100 is what it's being called, but it's AVI, you know how this goes, AVIPTADIL, Aviptadil. I hate when they make these drug names, like they make no freaking sense to probably anybody but molecular biologists. And then the rest of us can't pronounce them when we wait for a brand name to come out or a generic or something. It's Kimberly. It is a drug, and this was being tested over in Israel. It's known by RLF100, but it's an antiviral. It's new, and it's been shown to pretty much stop the replication of the virus by coating the lungs with a peptide, which looks like it's from the intestines. But it's made, let's see, independent researchers have reported that Aviptadil blocked replication of the SARS coronavirus in human lung cells and monocytes, which is what we need. This is how the virus is getting in the body. If we stop its entry and its vehicle in, we stop these side effects that are happening with this inflammation that's happening rapidly. And if this man could... Let's see here. It has been approved by the FDA for emergency use at multiple clinical sites, which is what they did with hydroxychloroquine in the fucking beginning, folks. When I got out there to New Jersey, we were in every clinical trial that was known to mankind at the time. There are sites out there, and if they do see that we are improving, they will skip past more phases and give it to everybody. But they are using it for emergency use at multiple clinical sites in patients who are too ill to enter the FDA's phase 2-3 trials. So that means that they're not being excluded just because they're too sick. Because this guy who survived this double lung transplant rejection and got off that ECMO and vent in 4 days, I don't think you can get more severe than that and have it work. That's pretty impressive. And for those, Edward, I know you just joined in, they had rapidly cleared pneumonitis findings on an x-ray, improved blood oxygen, and 50% or greater average decrease in lab markers associated with COVID inflammation. So it's pretty damn significant. This is the most significant thing we've seen besides the Decadron with the inflammation. It was before the lung transplant, Tracy. He needed the lung transplant because his lungs were destroyed from COVID. He got the lung transplant, and then his body was rejecting it. So they have to weaken the immune system completely and put you on anti-rejection medications. So this man was very freaking ill. I mean, outcome not good. I honestly, if he was my patient, I would just be praying every day. But this is a damn near a miracle. I'm really interested in seeing about the 15 other patients who showed improvement, what their situations were, what stages they were in with this. But this is a knockout. Yes, that one. Edward. Yep, that's it. I'm doing good. I'm taking care of myself. Just trying to get back out here. Waiting on an assignment. Waiting. If I wait too long, my ass is going to be at Sturgis. But yeah, this is good news. This just like gave me a pick-me-up, especially after hearing about Dr. Frank. Tracy, it all depends. If there's a set of donor lungs available, they will expedite. It just all depends. There are so many COVID patients on a ventilator needing lung transplants. It just all depends. Each organ donor place does things differently. They have their list. If you're local, it's even better. If you're in the same hospital, it just all depends. No, I'm not working right now. Waiting on an assignment. I got a lot of paperwork to do. I'm just putting things off, I guess. Trying to stay on top of everything too. It just gets overwhelming. I do miss my son, but I slept so good last night. I slept till noon today. I couldn't even help it. I've been exhausted. Brady's doing good. I talked to him a little bit. He's been running around enjoying his brothers and sisters. Yeah, it is really sad about Dr. Frank. Meeting up with these guys, I had heard a lot of great things about him from Anthony when we were talking in our conversations, because Anthony and I talk quite a bit. We go back and forth with the hydroxychloroquine argument, but we both have two completely different arguments. I agree with him where he's coming from. It's just kind of weird, but it's nice to have what I've been preaching to you guys in the beginning about having conversation and not judging people and respecting differences. That's why I really enjoy the conversations with them, and I started to follow them. I would really like to get involved with more of what they're doing. That's what I believe in, unity, man. We have to come together. Look at this crap in Beirut. Oh. Actually, Anthony just got back to me. I asked him if he had come across any research in his... There really isn't any. Yep. Sorry, guys. I just wanted to shoot him a quick message. I don't have the remote. Oh, yeah, I do. So yeah, there's a lot of interesting information coming out, but like I said, take this with a grain of salt right now until we see some reports from some credible sources, because like I said, everything so far is just like a news website or the company touting itself, or oh wait, here's one all the way at the bottom for clinicaltrials.gov. Okay, so that website that I shared with you in that video, it's listed. Actually, let me share this with Anthony right now so he can see it, since I have it open. See, it's important to share information. But, so they have the clinical trial. Let me get the stupid webcam in a way. So let's see here. The Cavendish Impact Foundation, NeuroRx was the sponsor. The safety and scientific validity of this study is the responsibility of the study sponsor and investigators. Listing a study does not mean it has been evaluated by the U.S. federal government. So me see here. Inclusion criteria. ECMO. Okay, so being on ECMO, cardiogenic shock, congestive. Okay, so exclusion criteria was irreversible condition, ECMO, chemotherapy-induced neutropenia, cardiogenic shock. So he wasn't even included in the study. It was approved for like a compassionate use type situation or emergency use, and it worked, but it was outside of the study. It's a 12-hour infusions on 3 successive days. It's like 500, 100, and 150. It goes up in dosage for 3 days. And that's it. And they couldn't have been enrolled in another study unless already admitted to an ICU and ineligible for transfer. So they had the locations that they were doing the study. Irvine, California at University of California, Florida at University of Miami Medical Center, Kentucky in Louisville, and Houston Methodist. So they were part of the study. So that goes a little bit farther with credibility, folks, because the study participant actually seen these and knew what the study was about, what they were looking for, and they found these outcomes in just their patients alone. So I'm really curious to see what Kentucky and California and Florida have seen, especially California and Florida, because they're both in areas that were hard hit. And the additional information: vasoactive intestinal peptide treats respiratory failure in COVID-19 by rescuing the alveolar type 2 cell. So it leads you to a PDF, which is another study by, I believe, one of the other authors of this current study that talks about how these peptides work. So there is literature behind this. So I'm going to reserve judgment still just because it's new. But having Methodist being a participant in this trial and them actually seeing these results is very promising. Night, Edward. I know it's late. People see, we need to quit listening to the media. That's why I'm going to start watching Anthony and Cash and trying to participate as much as I can in the conversations, because they do bring you people from like Seattle, from the areas of impact. It's important to see that and to hear the other perspectives that you're not seeing. And it's another thing, I watched that whole 8-something minute George Floyd leakage. Remember the whole conspiracy thing with the Nigerian guy in the background who did the video editing of the original George Floyd video and was like, look, there's nobody standing across the street. They just made this up. It was a hoax. On that body cam footage, you can clearly see people and arguing and every other, like, really? I really wish that footage would have been leaked a long time ago. I don't know what good it would have done, if it would have stopped some of the riots. And I think this is a lot of domestic terrorism going on and a lot of opportunistic people taking advantage of a plight of others. But that's a whole other rant. I don't know how Texas's kids are doing. I haven't seen a lot of comments about this, but I'm really looking forward to seeing what comes out of this in the next few weeks and in the upcoming trial results. I mean, this trial is active. I don't know. Let me see if I can, since I closed the damn, let's see here, recently closed. I wanted to go see if I could find it on my spreadsheet because I was looking for it under the name, and I need the whatchamajigger, the trial number. Let me see here now that I have it, and see if I can find it to see if they're still enrolling. Right here, NCT 00. Copy. And that's what I was trying to do, but I couldn't find anything on it. Not seeing it. Let me just sort this by alphabetical order and see if I can just scroll and find it. I don't know why it wouldn't be listed. I mean, it started July 1st and I downloaded this spreadsheet just a few nights ago. Okay, NCT 044 53839. Jesus Christ, there's a lot of them. I'm trying to get past, here we go, 044. Sorry guys, I usually try to prepare for this sooner. 538. And I have a million tabs open as well. It doesn't help here. Dear freaking Lord. 5. No, it's not listed. 534, 537, 53815. Yeah, it's not here. I don't know why it's not on this list. Very interesting, because this is their list. See, strange things happen. But this drug is not on the list of the clinical trial. But it was for COVID, so I have no idea what's going on here. I wonder how many study design. I'm wondering how many patients that they enrolled. They're enrolling 12 to 100 years, adults and kids. So that's good news. They're not limiting. And they do have contact information for this study protocol and informed consent. Yeah, this is pretty legit. I would just like to see data. What's going on right now? What are your stop points? When are you... I'm looking to see when they're going to stop the study, because that's what it shows on the first posted, first submitted, last posted update. Doesn't say how long it's supposed to go on. That's what I'm wondering about. Is there a stop point? How long are we going to do this before we have answers? I don't have that answer. What's a Meyer? You mean Myers. We got to put a plural on everything. Kroger's, Farmer Jack's. I don't know if there's any more Farmer Jack's or not, but at least Werner's still has an S. We pluralize everything. So yes, this is very interesting information. I had to share it because I just found it. It was very exciting, very promising, way more than anything else. So we're going to keep the faith, folks. We're going to keep the faith. So I'll be sharing some more information on this as I find it. So looking good. Looking real good. I'll share this article in the comments. Or maybe I'll just, when I finish it, I'll just edit the video and stick it on the top so you can click on it and you can take a look at it yourself. Y'all have a good night. I'm going to go back to video editing. Yeah, I have so many dents. My nails grow so fast because I'm constantly typing. It stimulates nail growth. So I'm lucky I even get to clip them without, I carry around my trusty nail file. Can't wear nail polish. I do buff and shine, but I just don't have time for all that. Ain't got time for that. So, very interesting stuff here, folks. Very interesting. Hopefully this comes in time for schools reopening.